is that day of the week where we give you all the major updates on all that's happening inside the corporates and startup world. You're watching Companynama. I'm Shrestha Tiwari, starting off with this week's corporate world updates first. Days after signing a $3 billion financing in India's most widely syndicated loan, Reliance Industries Limited and its unit Reliance Jio Infocomm have raised $2 billion add-on foreign currency facility. The $3 billion financing closed on March 31st and the add-on $2 billion thereafter. The fundraising is the largest through syndicate term loans by an Indian corporate house in at least 5 years. The primary syndication of $3 billion involved around 55 lenders, and the new loan of $2 billion has the same terms as with the 55 lenders. The Shapoorji Pallonji Group, the biggest shareholder in Tata Sons, is in talks to raise $1.75 billion by pledging the remaining half of its stake in the unlisted holding company of the Tata Group, the Economic Times had reported. The SP Group is looking to repay part of its debt obligations and infuse cash into its operating companies, they have said, and the group has already pledged close to 9% of its 18.37% stake in Tata Sons. After this latest transaction, the entire stake, currently valued at around 94,000 crore rupees, will be pledged. Hindalco Industries, the Aditya Birla Group aluminium company, has reset its growth capital expenditure to $4.5 billion over the next 5 years from $8 billion announced a year ago. This likely marks the first such decision by a major Indian firm in foreign capex. Addressing an investors' conference on April 5th, Hindalco's management has said that margin headwinds at Novelis, its US subsidiary where transient and growth projects had been deferred but not cancelled. Hindalco has said that it would spend $3.3 billion in the next 5 years on Novelis, focusing on greenfield rolling capacity, removing bottlenecks and setting up recycling units. Aiming to boost growth in the cargo business, Spicejet has said that it has completed the hive-off of its cargo and logistics division, Spice Express, into a separate entity, Spice Express and Logistics Private Limited. It is effective from April onwards, and Spice Express and Logistics Private Limited is a subsidiary of Spicejet, and the hive-off is expected to pave way for Spice Express to raise funds independently. The consideration for the slump sale shall be discharged by Spice Express through issue of equity shares and compulsorily convertible debentures to Spicejet for 2,555.77 crore rupees. According to Ajay Singh, chairman and managing director of Spicejet, the separation of the cargo arm is a stepping stone in Spicejet's growth story. Two-wheeler maker Hero MotoCorp on Wednesday announced a voluntary retirement scheme for its staff with an aim to improve efficiency and become a lean and a more productive and future-ready organization. The company has said that the VRS is applicable to all staff members and it offers a generous package that includes a one-time lump sum amount, variable pay, gifts, medical coverage, retention of company car, relocation assistance and career support. The announcement comes at a time when the two-wheeler category witnessed a 7-year low in total retail sales at 1.59 crore units in FY23. And after soft drinks and FMCG products, Reliance Retail, the country's largest organized retailer, on Wednesday launched its flagship beauty retail store, Tira, in Mumbai. The company will take on the likes of Nykaa, Myntra, Shoppers Stop and the Tata Group's Tata Click palette in this segment. The development is significant as the experts have said that since Reliance Retail had been looking at a beauty retail format for some time now. Reliance Retail is looking at stepping up its Tira's presence across 100 cities over the next few years, and the target is to touch at least 100 to 200 stores over the next few years. TVS Motor Company on 4th of April said that its Singapore-based arm will acquire a 25% stake in Germany-based electric mobility products and components startup Kilowatt GmbH. TVS Motor has agreed to buy 8,500 equity shares in Kilowatt, and the shares are acquired at cash consideration of 235.29 euros per share, translating to a total of nearly 18 crore rupees. And now over to the segment on major corporate controversies and disputes. Let's take a look at which were those corporate giants that were on the radar this week. NCLT's Hyderabad bench on March 31st approved the resolution plan submitted by Jindal SAW Limited for reviving Hyderabad-based Satavahana Ispat Limited by infusing 693.6 crore rupees towards admitted claims and contingent claims. The Jindal SAW will merge SIL with itself under the provisions of the IBBI Regulations 2016. While the fair value of SIL stands at 682.9 crore rupees, the liquidation value stands at 342.49 crore rupees. SEBI has barred 3 individuals from the securities market for 2 years, and it has said that it has imposed penalty totaling up to 90 lakh rupees on them in a case pertaining to insider trading activities in the scrip of Z Entertainment Enterprises. The case relates to insider trading activities in the scrip of Z while in possession of unpublished price-sensitive information on the results of the media company for the quarter ending June 30th, 2020, as well as the launch of Z-Plex by the company on September 1st, 2020. The 3 individuals banned are Bijal Shah, Gopal Ritolia and Jatin Chawla, who have been directed to pay the fine within 45 days. In addition, Ritolia and Chawla have been directed to pay up illegal gains of 7.52 crore rupees and 2.09 crore rupees respectively, along with interest. Arguing against the very question of maintainability of application filed by promoters of Shrey Group under Section 10A of IBC, Tushar Mehta, Solicitor General of India appearing for RBI appointed administrator, said that the defaults continued beyond the moratorium period and hence the section does not provide support to the companies. According to the counsel appearing on behalf of the Committee of Creditors, the issue of Section 10A was brought up earlier before both NCLAT and the Supreme Court and was dismissed. Earlier, the Council for Shrey Infrastructure Finance argued that the company did not owe any debt to banks on the day it had filed for insolvency. It cited a business transfer agreement that allowed SIFL to transfer its lending interest earning and lease businesses as well as its associated employees, assets and liabilities as a going concern to its wholly owned subsidiary Shrey Equipment Finance through a slump exchange. The matter has been posted on April 10th for further hearing by NCLT. Billionaire Anil Agarwal's Vedanta Resources has a debt servicing obligations of about $3 billion, including interest in the current fiscal, and S&P Global Ratings has said this on 3rd of April. It estimated that the company will have enough liquidity until December 2023. In a statement, S&P said that Vedanta is close to securing about $1 billion at one of its operating companies and will have at least another $1 billion obligations that require funding until March 2024. NCLT has approved a plea filed by Indiabulls Housing Finance Limited and has initiated insolvency proceedings against Bengaluru-based Mantri developers. In February 2022, a petition was filed by Indiabulls Housing Finance Limited after Mantri defaulted on a loan of 456.6 crore rupees. The bench found the petition complete and hence ordered the initiation of insolvency proceedings against Mantri developers. And Adani Group has been in the news this week due to various reasons. On Monday, April 3rd, it was reported that market regulator SEBI has started probing Adani Group's offshore deals. It will be found in the probe whether there was any violation of rules during the deal. Meanwhile, a sigh of relief for the Adani Group, NCLT approved the acquisition of Karaikal Port on behalf of Adani Port. Adani Port had made an offer of 1,485 crore rupees for the Karaikal Port, which was challenged by other companies. With regards to the expansion of cement business, it has been said by the Adani Group that it will fund it through internal accruals. Adani Group aims to double the capacity of cement production to 140 million tons per annum by 2028. On 3rd of April, shares of Adani Enterprises, Adani Trans, Ports, Adani Total closed with a fall of around 0.5 to 2%. Apart from this, on April 4th, the stock market regulator SEBI informed the Supreme Court panel on the Adani Hindenburg case, and SEBI chairperson Madhabi Puri Buch herself appeared before the panel. Meanwhile, for the first time after Hindalco report, JV company of Adani Group, Adani Connex, has started fresh talks with 6 banks for a $220 million loan. Adani Enterprises, Adani Trans Green Power shares closed with a fall of 0.5 to 2% on April 5th. Well, those were all the updates from the corporate world. Let's take a look at what went on in the startup world this week. The last quarter of the financial year 2022-23 has proved to be a dry season for unicorns in India. According to data from Traction, between January and March 2023, only 4 unicorns raised money amid just 6 funding rounds. This is a straight-up contrast from the last quarter of FY22, where 35 unicorns had raised money amid 40 funding rounds. The first 3 quarters of FY23 saw 23, 11 and 9 unicorn funding rounds respectively. The value of funds raised in the last quarter, however, was slightly up at $1.16 billion, mainly after PhonePe had raised $650 million through 3 different funding deals. In the last of these deals, in quarter 4 of FY23, it raised $200 million from Walmart. Another company that managed to raise higher fundings was Lenskart with $500 million from Abu Dhabi Investment Authority. No Broker and Darwin Box 2 raised $5 million each between January 1st and March 31st, 2023. Byju's, the world's most valuable edtech startup, has raised $700 million at a flat valuation of $22 billion involving 2 separate deals of equity and convertible notes. While the much-needed capital infusion could help the edtech major stave off potential debt issues, on the other hand, fresh trouble is brewing for Byju's as the US-based asset manager BlackRock has reportedly slashed the valuation of the edtech major by nearly 50% to $11.5 billion. The $11.5 billion valuation is in vast contrast to the $22 billion valuation at which Byju's raised $250 million funding in October last year. The development has come close to the heels of Swiggy getting a 25% valuation cut from its US-based investor Invesco, which valued the food tech major at $10.7 billion in January 2022. In more news on Byju's, it has appointed Vedanta Group's Ajay Goel as its chief financial officer amid a delay in filing its financial results for the year ending March 31st, 2022. E-commerce startup Meesho, which until early 2022 was burning around $40 million a month in cash to compete against rivals like Amazon and Flipkart, has said that a burn rate was halved over the rest of 2022 and has now been reined in to a relatively modest $5 million. This comes at a time when Meesho's India unit was hitting its stride. Experts say that a key challenge for Meesho to continue growing while reducing burn will arise from its customer profile, noting that they are not wealthy enough to increase wallet share. Reliance Industries' online fashion retail platform Ajio is in advanced stages of setting up a new marketplace, Ajio Street, for low-priced fashion items, which will work on a zero-commission model. Merchants are being asked to onboard the platform with a promise of 15-day payment settlement. This would make Reliance Ajio, which competes with Flipkart-owned Myntra, Amazon Fashion and Tata Click, a direct competitor to SoftBank and Fidelity-backed e-tailer, which is Meesho, which specializes in selling low-cost, long-tail fashion and accessory products. Only last week, Meesho had crossed the 1 million seller mark, of which more than 80% sellers were found to be new to e-commerce and selling online for the first time. And with that, it's a wrap on Companynama this week. See you again next Saturday with more from the corporate and startup world. Meanwhile, stay tuned to Money9 and have an amazing weekend.